One thing you may not know about Kathy is that she flew on a real flying trapeze on her first independent trip to China in 1988. I did bring it. Let's welcome her, shall we?
Kathy Cocozzella.
All right, great.
Kathy.
Is
she on my list?
You've been sitting a long time.
She's the Grove one.
And I'm going to make you
Coach to
take
grow.
a promise that even though I'm the last
Grow
speaker
coaching.
of the day, you're going to pay close attention, right? So raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear. I will pay attention very closely. Very good. Okay, now what I want you to do is take one step to the right, and then I want you to reach out and touch somebody's shoulder.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm still looking at your shoulder. Be careful out there. All right, so you can move. Take more than one step if you can't reach someone's shoulder. There we go. All right, so we've had a great day, and already you've been uplifted, moved, and touched.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be that. Okay, now give him a backdrop.
Okay, so, are you ready? All right, we are going to talk about coaching your consultants. So what I want to know first of all is how many of you feel pretty strong at coaching? Like you feel like you've got down a good pattern, that you coach your consultants on a regular basis, that you kind of know what to say, what questions to ask. How many of you feel like pretty strong and confident about that? Okay, well I see some hands. Okay, how many of you feel like you're kind of middle of the road? All right, and how many of you feel like you need a lot more direction on that? Well, I'm so glad I'm covering this topic. All right, so what I'm going to tell you about coaching, first of all, is that coaching is the single best way to move people into action, right? To really help them reach their goals. And when you think about coaching, it doesn't matter if they are a Cameron Chef consultant, an accountant, a nurse. It doesn't matter what their job is. Maybe their goal is to be the best PTA president ever. Maybe their goal is to be really fit. The people who are coached are going to have more success. So this is a step that really will make a difference in your consultants having a strong business. And you really can't have a thriving business without coaching. And that is being coached yourself as well as coaching others. So how many of you are like, oh, I don't really need coaching? Well, the truth is you will have more success if you are coached. And then, of course, your leaders and your team members will have success if you coach them. So let's talk about what coaching is. So coaching is a specific conversation at a scheduled time to help people grow in their business and reach their goals. So specific conversation, scheduled time. So what it's not is like, let's chat sometime. And you're like, okay, then nobody ever says it, right? Okay, I know we're all laughing because we've all done it. Or if you're just saying, okay, sounds good, you're doing really great, keep in touch. Okay, not coaching. How about, they're talking about a goal that they really want to accomplish, and you're saying, okay, great, well, let me know how it goes. Right? There's no accountability, there's no set date to follow up, there's no set conversation. So that is not the way to go. All right, so now I think those things are like check-ins, those are updates. That can be done via Messenger, but ideally coaching happens either over Zoom or on a phone call or a Facebook chat, however you guys want to do it. But seeing them or talking to them is really going to be essential. So coaching is different from training. So who can tell me why coaching is different from training, or how? Okay, listening versus talking. What else? Asking questions versus telling. Okay, what else?
Training is for a broader audience, but coaching is for a specific individual or group.
Okay, great. Training is for a broader audience. Coaching is for a specific individual or group. Good. What else? Their objective versus yours. Great. Anything else? You got all the major ones covered. So that's the main thing I like to tell people. I'm sorry, did you have something? It's not about you. Exactly. Very good. So training, if you need a simple way to remember this, training is telling, coaching is asking. Now, a lot easier to say than to do, right? Because we are all doers, and we're all fixers, and we're going to tell them what to do and how to fix it. want you to remember that. Training is telling, coaching is asking. Now, what is the number one rule in the skill of asking questions?
Asking questions.
Okay. What's the other number one rule? Ask 3 questions before you tell them anything. Okay, you guys learned something new just now. Ask 3 questions before you tell them anything. So let's say that your consultant says, I just can't get any shows booked. Has that ever happened to anybody? Okay. It hasn't happened in any of my other meetings, but no, I'm kidding. So what is something that you would say if somebody says, I just can't get shows booked? What are one of the 3 questions you might ask them? What have you tried so far? Good. What else? Who are you asking? Okay, what else? What are you saying? What else? How many did you ask?
What do you think you might be able to do?
Okay, what do you think you might be able to do to get those scores? So all the pros are shouting out the answers. I love that. My very favorite response to almost any concern first is always tell me more. Okay, those 3 little words make a huge difference. Tell me more. All right, because I want to know what's on their mind, what they're thinking, what's really happening, and they're going to tell you a lot more than just, I can't get the bookings for what's happening. They might be overwhelmed with they just had a baby or whatever the case may be, but tell me more is a good way to start. So, what we're going to focus on really in coaching is asking really great questions. And so, I want you guys to listen to these questions, and I want you to think about what do these questions have in common. All right, the first one of the, this isn't really in any order, but one of the questions that will be first is going to be finding out what their goal is. So, what is your goal? Just listen to them. Do not write them down because I've given you all the questions. Okay? So you're going to have it all in your handout, but don't pull them out yet. All right? So, what is their goal? Just listen to the question. I want you to figure out kind of what's in common, what's special about these questions. Why do you want to achieve that goal? What will it mean to you to reach that goal? Or to your family? What's working or what's not working? What ideas do you have to grow in that area? What obstacles could get in the way? How could you overcome those obstacles? How would you like to be held accountable to this goal? How committed are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And if they're not a 9 or a 10, what will it take to get to a 9 or 10? How will you celebrate when you reach that goal? Who will you tell first when you reach your goal? Okay, so what do all those questions have in common? Oh, tell me a little bit about what those questions mean to you. Okay, so it's coming from what they think, which means that you're usually bringing people to a new awareness. When you ask people questions and then you keep digging deeper, sometimes they think of something they never would have thought before if you had not probed it a little bit. It gets them more into their subconscious. It's all them, they're thinking about it. What else? They're all open-ended, right? What else? Yeah, many times they will strike the emotional chord, okay? And almost all of them are who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay, so those are the questions that you want to use because you want them to solve it. And when they come up with that information, guess what? They own it, right? People do not argue with their own data. So that's important. All right, now, what's that? Oh, I thought someone shouted something else. Okay, so the questions that I didn't use are what we call the D questions. I know you guys know this. What are the D questions? Did you? Or do you? You don't want to ask the D questions, right? I always tell people not to ask the D questions because you're their mentor and not their mother, right? You're like, well, did you call this girl? Well, did you do this? Well, did you, do your 30 reach tests? So you're sounding more like their mother than their mentor, right? And so that's something really too important. And also, you kind of get a yes or no answer with that, and you're not getting more information. The other thing that happens is when you give them answers and then you say, well, remember when I talked about, green dotting your 12 friends? Did you do that? Right? And they're gonna go, yes, I did that, right? Or have you ever had this conversation? And you go, okay, well, remember I suggested the such and such, did you do that? And they're going, yeah, I did that, it didn't work. Well, did you try that? Well, yeah, I did it. Now who owns it? You own it. Because now they're saying, you gave me all these ideas that didn't work. So that is one of the reasons that you're going to be asking lots of questions. Make sense? Okay, you with me so far? Yeah. All right, so who are we coaching? Who are you going to coach? New consultants, not everybody. People that are coachable. Your new consultants, and definitely should be using Dash, using the fast track system to start those people with that system. All right? Who else? Your rock stars, your aspiring leaders, those people that want more, right? Definitely your leaders. And with newer consultants, there's a little bit of coaching and a little bit of training going on, and even with your aspiring leaders, but more so with your new consultants, you should be like using the Dash system, the fast track system in Dash, and it literally tells you, like if they say this, say this. Or if they say this, say this. Based on how they respond. So if you guys have not dug in there, I'm going to give you a second plug for why you should be using that. So the whole idea is, you guys, you're trying to get the answers to come from them. So you're not going to focus on those people that are just demanding your time and attention, and they're just wanting to continue to be negative, and they're not taking action. Okay? So that's important for you to remember, because those people, that's really hard on you. I mean, have y'all had those people that they're just not willing to take the steps forward, and they kind of suck the life out of you, and you feel like, I'm doing my very best, and I'm not really able to help those people. And what you have to realize at that point is that is about them and not about you. All right? And so I'm going to tell you really simple ways to end that conversation if they just keep calling and saying, yeah, but I need help, but I need help. So you're going to give them, and I'll cover this more in the end, but you're going to give them a call to action at the end of every call, and they're going to create it. Based on your conversation, you're going to ask them, what are your action steps? And they're going to say, oh, well, I like the idea of such and such, so I'm going to do that. Okay, great. And what else are you going to do? They're going to figure out 2 or 3 things. And then you let them know, okay, so for our very next call, the only thing I ask is that you have completed your call to action. And then I ask to make them send me a coaching form as well, which I've given you one of those too, so that you can use that. And I need that form the day before. And if they're the negative Nellies and they haven't done those tasks, then they're probably not going to need another call, first of all. But it's very simple to say, hey, no problem, if you accomplish that, give me a call and we'll set up your next call. Make sense? Okay? Very good. All right. So it's really important to think about how you are approaching coaching. All right? And I love this quote. You guys know I'm a big John Maxwell fan. And it says, when you believe in people, you motivate them and you release their potential. I think it's really powerful. People can sense intuitively when a person really believes in them. And I'm going to add this part on. John didn't say it, but I'm going to add it on. And when they don't. So they can sense if you believe in them, and they can also sense when you don't. Another one is that anyone can see people as they are, but it takes a leader to see what they can become. So you have to encourage them to grow in that direction and believe that they will do it. All right, so let's talk about first just starting with the coaching process with new consultants. One of the things I used to always do is really kind of prep them and say, so we're going to have your training call tomorrow. So you're going to want to be in a quiet place. And how do you take notes? Do you like to use OneNote? Do you want to use a spiral notebook? In other words, I am communicating the message that you are not going to be in preschool pickup line on this call, right? You're not going, I used to say to them, I won't do dishes and fold laundry if you don't. Now, I don't do those things anyway, but I'm just kidding. But it's setting a precedent that we are going to be focused. This is a business. We're really going to be learning. And, I'm going to be taking notes, and they're going to be taking notes too. So you have to figure out what is your system for doing that. Okay? So, let's talk about the model. So now you can pull out the growth coaching model that looks like this. in your handouts. So this is a really simple model to follow, and especially works with aspiring leaders that are really wanting to move forward. Because most of your coaching with the new consultants should be following the fast track system coaching, the consultant onboarding system. So this works really great with aspiring leaders or directors, and it's called Grow Coaching Model. We're just going to go through this, and it makes coaching really simple for you and for them. So for the G stands for goal. Now this is the very first step. So you're going to do a couple of things here. You're going to establish their large goal, like their big goal, what are they really going for? And you're also going to establish what is like the goal of that phone call, okay? And so what's an example of something big that a new consultant might be reaching for? Okay, so fast track might be one of them. What else? A trip, okay, what else? Qualify, great, what else? Thank you, okay? So their big goal might be, I just want to book a party, right? When they're just getting started. Some of them are like, and 4, okay? So sometimes that's a big goal. We might like keep pushing and stretching goal. What's a bigger goal? And that's okay. There's a time and a place for that. But it's okay at the beginning to also kind of accept where they're at and say, stretch them, one little bit at a time, right? It's kind of like a rubber band. You want to stretch people, but you don't want to break them. So for some people, that's like all they can handle is just getting those first 4 shows booked that week. Then you're going to establish the goal of the conversation. So you might say, okay, and again, on your coaching sheet, I'll tell you about that in a minute, it's going to say what they want to talk about on that call. So you're going to know that ahead of time. But you can ask them, what specifically do you want to talk about? What are some specific challenges that you want to focus on? Or what do you want to create an action plan for? So they know you're not going to just get on the phone and chit-chat. They're really going to be taking action. Now, this sounds silly, but you actually need to clarify that when they say that. Like, let's say somebody says, well, I really would like to sell more at my parties. And so you might say, okay, so what do you think they want to talk about? I'm going to ask you to tell me. If they say, I want to sell more at my parties, what do they need to do? Okay, so I might say, well, you mean you want to talk about post-coaching? Or I might say, oh, well, you want to increase your party hours. And they might say, well, no, my orders per show is actually high. First of all, I'm going to be impressed if they know that. But I'm just not getting enough people there. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you really want to talk about increasing your guests per show. So you have to really be specific with people and figure out what do they really want to say. And that's why, you sound like, kind of like it sounds funny to just repeat it back to them, so what you're saying is this. It helps them to clarify. And again, anytime you ask a question, you make them dig deeper and kind of have a new awareness. So that's goal. See how easy that is? We're done with number 1. All right, so then we are going to talk about reality. So the reality is to figure out what is the current situation. So you have to use what I like to call sincere curiosity. I love to talk to people. I love to ask people questions. I like to know everything about them. And it helps me to help them. The more I know about the consultants I'm working with or coaching, the more I can help them. How many of you have ever had a coaching call with me or any kind of conversation with me? Okay, lucky for me, I'm in the West, right? If I would have been in the East, nobody would raise their hand. So you will know that I will be asking lots of questions, and I sincerely care about your success. So you're going to be asking them these questions. And remember, don't ask them the deep questions, but you're really going to explore and try to figure out, what are you doing now to get people at your show? Okay, that was the topic, right? So what are you doing now? What is the reality of that? And then you're going to say, and what some people are going to say is, I don't know, we'll get to that in a minute. All right? Then once they say that, then you're going to say, tell me more about that. So it's that 3 little words again, tell me more, right? And again, you guys are really listening, you're taking notes. So this is probably one of the best things I ever learned in direct selling, what I'm going to tell you next. All right? I like to tell people when I'm going to say something profound. So this is it. All right? So this is, have you ever had those people where you're like, I cannot figure out, like, why she's not going to parties? And she's trying, she's this, she's that. And the problem is, you're trying to figure it out. They should be figuring it out, okay? So one of the best things I ever learned in 37 years of direct selling is to put it on them. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to do this example with you guys and not give you the 3 answers because I want you guys to engage in it just like you're going to engage your consultants. And so what I would say to them is I would say, okay, so there are 3 things, basically 3 buckets. I mean, there's lots of things, but there's basically 3 things that help people to be successful, all right? And actually, before I do that, I established with them, do you believe that you are responsible for your own success or lack thereof? Do you? Yes. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Now, if they say no, then you're lost, right? You're just like, okay, I can't finish the conversation. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so part of that is ownership. So are they living above the line, and are they owning it, right? So that's the first thing I say is, do you believe that you are responsible for your own success, right? Somebody else can do it for you, right? You have to do it yourself. And so once we establish that, then I say there are 3 things that lead to success. So what do you think makes somebody successful? I want you to help me figure out what these 3 buckets are. Let's just say they fall into 3 buckets. All right? So tell me, what do you think is one thing that people must do to be successful? What was that? Believe in yourself. Fantastic. That's the first bucket. All right? So belief is the first bucket. They have to believe they can do it. All right? So write down belief. That's the first bucket. All right? What is another thing that people that are successful, think about people you know that are successful. What do they do?
Make goals.
They're consistent. Okay, that's a good word. So consistent falls into the bucket of habit. All right? So they have good habits because one of the best habits to have is to be consistent. Okay? What's another one? What is something else somebody you know? Okay, you have Becky Adams up here, Stacey Itzel, all these Kim up here, whoever else was up here. Okay, positivity, great. So that falls into the belief bucket. Okay, passion, fabulous. That falls into the belief bucket. Okay, a plan and a goal, that falls into the habit bucket, right? You have to have good habits, plan, skill, thank you.
Flexible.
Skill, you have to know how to do it. Okay? So, there you go. It's right on your sheet. You could have cheated, but you didn't, so thank you.
Oh my
So
God.
skill, habit, and belief. Okay, so you guys, skill is they know how to do it. Belief is they believe they can do it. And habit is they do it. So skill, habit, and belief, it really can't be any simpler than that, right? So, but what you're going to be tempted to do when you're having this conversation with your consultants, especially, how many D's style personality? You guys know personality styles? Okay, like the dominant personality is probably the Ruby. I'm guessing, where's Kelly Mello at? Have you done this personality? Okay, well, Ruby is kind of in charge, right? That's also the D style personality. Those of you that are really in charge, like your goal is to get results no matter what, and you know, you can be a little bit direct and demanding, right? Those people, they get very impatient with this process. They just want to say, I'm going to tell you, there are 3 steps. The skill, habit, belief. Right? That's not the right way to do it. It could work, I know. But, so patience will pay off. And if you're a D, you need to write that down. Patience will pay off. All right. So, skill, habit, and belief. So, once you do this with them, and they're trying to figure it out, and they might be going, I don't know. Now, you notice if you guys said things that weren't one of my 3, I didn't say, no, wrong, right? So, I told you what bucket it fit into. And almost always they're going to fit into one of those buckets. And you say, oh, wow, that's a new one. I haven't thought of that. You know, kudos for you, right? But these are the main 3 things. Now, here's the next question that really makes this powerful. Is what you're going to do at that point is you're going to say, okay, so, Dawn, out of skill, habit, and belief, which one is holding you back? And I'm not going to tell Dawn. I know she's telling me for that. But, so let's say she says, well, probably skill. And I would say, well, why would you say skill? Which one is holding? And she might say, well, every time, I go to, message somebody, I'm not sure if I know what to say, or if I go to talk to them, I'm not sure if I know what to do, or, sometimes when I'm on Facebook, I'm just not that techie, and I say, okay, so skills, so tell me, what could you do to improve in that area? So again, they're thinking about what they need to do, and you know what? They're going to figure it out. So you have to ask them the questions, because guess who's the expert on you? You. You are the expert on you. So you have to ask them that question, what could you do? So let's say they say believe. And you say, so why do you say believe? And they might say, well, I just never really felt like I could do it very well. I mean, my parents were kind of negative, or whatever was the situation, and I know they had good intentions, but, they just, never felt like, poured their belief into me, or whatever was their situation, right? And then when you say, what could you do to increase your belief in yourself? That may be the most powerful question that person has ever heard. Probably nobody has ever asked them that question. So if you ask them, what could you do to increase your belief? They're going to have to think on that for a minute. Now, the key is, you don't know the answer, right? I always tell people it's really important to wait. W-A-I-T. Write down that acronym. It's important to wait. W-A-I-T. Anybody know what W-A-I-T stands for? Thank you. Why am I talking? Why am I talking? Because we're really good at talking and telling and directing, and we need to be quiet sometimes. If the sticky note on your computer that says W-A-I-T isn't working, I've heard duct tape is very successful. Try duct tape. Put your hand over your mouth, whatever you need to do. I had a consultant on my team who was really fantastic, and she was a processor. She was one of my top leaders. Her name is Maria. And every time I would ask her a question, it would be like, silent. And like for 60 seconds or 90 seconds, like that's a long time when you're on the phone. I'd be like, you're still there, right? Because I knew she was a processor, but when she came up with the answer, it was always amazing. So it's really important that you wait and let them figure it out. Okay? So that's kind of that piece there. So then what we're going to do is talk about options. Actually, I kind of skipped ahead. So part of that, asking them questions about all of that, is going to be options. All right? So what you're going to be doing is asking them, what could you do? How could you respond to that? What else can you think of? And these are all very business building focused activities to really get them engaged. All right? And how could you learn to be better at that kind of thing? Now, in a very last resort, and I always say the last resort because you want them to really think about it, sometimes they're just so new that they don't know. What do you think you could say if they really don't know, and you've asked them a few times and they've really tried to think and they can't come up with something? What could you say? What could you ask? This is that asking. Okay. Is it okay if I give you a suggestion? Okay. Let's just take it a little step further. And what I would say is, would you like to know what's worked for some of my most successful consultants? Would you like to know what's worked for some of my most successful consultants? What you don't say is, would you like to know what I do? Would you like to know what's worked for me? Why is that not powerful? They're not you and they don't think they can be you. Right? They look at you, I don't care what level you are, if you're director, advanced director, whatever, they look at you as being untouchable. Okay? So you have to realize you're a superstar to them and they don't think that they can do what you've done. Okay? So here's the thing. Like when people are lacking skill, you have to make sure that they are aware of the resources that are available to them. And this is always a big eye-opener when I do this next activity, because people are kind of surprised about resources that are available that they may not even know about. All right? So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, at your tables, I'm going to give you each a topic, and I want you guys to take, as fast as you can, in about 3 minutes, write down as many resources that you have or that you know are available through Pampered Chef on the topic that I give you. Okay? So this, look up here so you'll know what you're going to do. So this whole row here, you guys are going to talk about booking resources. Okay? You guys are going to talk about post-coaching resources right here. And everybody else gets to do recruiting. Woohoo! Recruiting resources. So 3 minutes, as fast as you can at your table, come up with what are some resources.
Yeah.
Besides Dash.
Oh, besides that, shoot! I was like, okay, hold on.
YouTube?
You can do YouTube, director, those that are having successful parties.
We're on host coaching, right?
So use the guide.
You can't use Dash. I like Dash though. I mean,
But that's they said beside it. There's other ways to get
training,
coaching.
conferences,
Yeah.
yeah, workshop,
Yeah. Because YouTube has trainings,
networking.
networks,
What about on the new consultants? I would say,
team meetings,
well, on the Facebook group.
what's page, Facebook page.
You know, the new Facebook page, so they ask them all to join. Because there's just so, because the reason why is there is such a constant influx of new, right? And it's like, what's happening right then? And so I think they evaluate themselves much more like, oh, but I'm like you and you and you and you, everybody around the Facebook group, because they know they're all new, right? And they're I don't want to say they're marked to take their idea, but just like Kathy was saying earlier, they're like going, okay, wait a second, I can't say what you said, right? So if they can align themselves with somebody that is in their same shoes, yeah.
So the Facebook group, yeah. There's scripts. Yeah. I don't know if that's Dash, but there are scripts. But there's the guide, cooking guide, you know. Okay, who's coaching?
Yeah. But considering we couldn't use Dash, I think, yeah.
What do you think? I don't know, my brain is so fried. Lots of tons 2:35 for an hour.
But she's the last one.
Information overload, it is.
Yes, right?
Yeah. So this is a questionnaire that we need to type up. I'm sure it's in the handout. Is it Evernote, maybe?
I didn't see
It's
it.
not in Evernote. So I can type this up for us.
Okay. 30 seconds, wrap it up.
They still have in, when you're doing the consultant's corner, you can go into their name and then they have the conversation questions.
Oh, you know what? It's more in Dash.
You have at least
I don't-
two
I know what
things.
you're talking about.
There's coaching in the party. In the
Some
party.
of you don't have
In the
two?
party, there's host coaching
How many of you
in.
guys have at least two things on your list at your table?
Oh, we do.
Do you write host
Okay,
coaching on the
how
party?
many have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Okay, good, well, we're ready. Okay, so this is gonna be fun. Now, listen to the rules.
Listen to the rules,
Checklist.
All right,
Okay, you
so
wrote them all down,
here's
right?
what we are going to do. First of all, you have to choose somebody at your table that is going to be your appointed speaker. And wait.
Voila, she wrote them
When you are
down.
going to do this, everybody go like this. Everybody go like this. Point your finger in the air. I don't see everybody's hand up. Okay, so on the count of 3, you're going to point to your representative. 1, 2, 3.
And your voice carries, so it's very
All
perfect.
right. I don't know why that makes everybody laugh, but they do love that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So if you are in this row, the appointed speaker, please stand up. This row right here, booking. Okay, let's hear for the appointed speaker. And okay, we have somebody standing from every table. You do not. Please stand up. Thank you. Okay. So, now, Nicole is going to be really lucky because I'm going to let her go first. And this is how it's going to go.
anything.
So she's going to share one of the resources, and you cannot share the same resource she shares. So if you're second, you have to share a different resource, and all the way down the line. So Becky has the hardest job, and she can handle it. So, okay, so everybody stand up. It's going to be super quick. Nicole, what's the resource?
Is it there?
The monthly power plan.
Monthly power plan. All right. Who's next?
Monthly focus, yeah.
Stir. Okay, good.
Oh, so
Dash. Very good.
You can't say
Two.
that.
And oh, of course, Becky has every Friday. All right. Okay. So now, thank you guys. You can sit down. Give them a hand.
you can pop that on, Dash. You can
Now, what I would encourage you guys to do is to then be more specific. And here's the key, you guys. If you haven't gone in and used all the resources in Dash, if you haven't looked at under booking and post coaching and recruiting under STIR, you may not know what the resources are, right? So as leaders, I challenge you guys to get in there and look at it. When the monthly focus comes out, you do that on the first or second day of the month and figure out what's in there. So you go, oh my gosh, have you seen Susie Q doing the booking video this month? It's amazing. All right, so the more specific you can be, the better. Okay, so this group is post coaching, right? Okay, everybody stand up. Oh wait, we picked the leader already, so stand up, leaders. Okay, this time I'm going to start right here.
Oh.
You lucky girl, you get to go first. Okay, so your own team page and files on your team page. I love it. Yes. Okay. Okay, coffee talk and Saturday success.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I just learned there's actually a coffee talk page. Yeah, okay, well, so I'm behind the eight ball, but I knew there was coffee talk. I didn't know it was a Facebook page.
Saturday.
All right, can anybody join those?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. You all just got another resource if you didn't know about it. I know you all didn't. That's okay. Okay, Kim.
The post coaching checklist when you set up the party.
Oh, that was nice.
Okay,
yeah.
yes, those coaching checklists. Go ahead.
The hosting 101.
Hosting 101.
It's Dash.
YouTube.
YouTube. Very good. Okay. And so again, if you guys have something more specific, like that you know that, and since you guys are doing recruiting, like that Sharon Zellen has a recruiting video that's called X, then be more specific about it. Okay? So let's have the last group stand up for recruiting resources. Okay? Just the leaders. Yep. All right, Kristen is going to start.
The webinar, the Pampered Chef webinar.
Pepper Chef Opportunity Webinar. When does it happen?
Third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday of every month. A+. Okay, right over here. Love it. Attending somebody's show, virtual or live. Yes. The what? The kid credit coupon. Yes. And are they using that effectively? Great. Director Success. Love it. Okay. Fast Track Program. Okay. Roxanne?
Industry books from leaders in the field.
Okay, good. So a specific book that you might have read yourself in the industry? Yes, go ahead. Okay, so I think we heard Team Page up here, right? What else? Give me another one.
We have your mentors, your online, or even a cheer down.
Okay, great. Well, yes, your mentors are upline. Bring so much to you. I love how Love Carpenter says that she recruited Jennifer Henderson, but Jennifer Henderson trained her. Because she really taught her how to do virtual stuff. Go ahead.
We have flyers or
Kid bonus. Okay, we've heard about kid bonus.
Okay, so the flyer.
Recruiting
the
incentive.
catalog, actually the catalog with all the kids that are.
Okay, the catalog with all this kid information. Yes, the Be a Consultant page. Go ahead. Becky.
That is right, the Be a Consultant link.
Thank you.
Yes.
Use the Be a Consultant link to your Fantastic. All right, and last but not least,
Could you say be more specific with YouTube?
yes.
Okay, Stephen Joseph.
Okay, there you go. Stephen Joseph on YouTube.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's fantastic. Okay, so a couple things that you guys did not mention. So get your pens out. So I talked about monthly focus. The monthly meeting planner, you know the first 3 pages have everything you need to know about that month. You guys know that?
Yes.
Okay, good. The national conference workshops, you know where they are?
Yes.
Do you know where to find them?
Yes.
Who knows where to find national conference workshops from last year? One person? Tell us where to find them.
Where to find?
Thank you. They're in the dash resources.
Yeah, there we go. I know where to click. I
National
do know
conference
the
workshops
name.
are
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, YouTube videos, we talked about that. Putting people in a successful show and a not a successful show, that could really help them with post coaching. Somebody kind of did say this about a mentor. So whenever I really wanted to learn something, I called somebody that was making it happen. And I would say, you don't know me, but I know you.
Yeah.
And you inspire me, and can I just spend 15 minutes with you? Some of my best training and my best friends have come from doing that. So if there is something you need to know, trust me, somebody has gone before you and they've done it. And you need to reach out and find out.
Yeah.
So it was fun because when I was sitting next to Kristen, we'll pick on her a little bit, but it's a good thing. When Stacy was talking, she said, oh my gosh, I do that. And she's like, I do that too. And she was so excited. And I said, wow, that's impressive. And she said, I've studied this. So be a good student. And that's what Will Crawford always says. I am a student of this. And go and find out where these resources are so you can help your people to be more successful. But man, you guys did good. You got all the rest. All right. So let's then go back to our coaching model. And we already talked about that. What to say if they say, I don't know. We talked about waiting. And one of the things I like to say to them, if they say, I don't know, is I say, okay, let's just think about it for a minute. Now, if I say, okay, let's just think about it for a minute, what does that mean to you? What are you going to do as a coach? Be quiet. This is where the duct tape comes in, right? So, when you say, let's just think about it for a minute, that is code for, I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to listen until you start talking. And guess what? They will start talking if you are quiet long enough. And they might still say, I don't know, I say, what else are you doing? Like you do, what would you do? And what you're really doing is saying, I know you can come up with something, and they call it. 99% of the time, they will come up with something. Okay? So, then we get to the W. And the W is, what will you do? So, under options, we're asking them, okay, so what would you do to increase the number of people attending your show? And she comes up with, 3 or 4 or 5 ideas. So you're going to say now, out of those ideas, what would you do? Now, she might say all of them plus these 3 things. And you say, okay, you've got 8 things on your list right now. Let's just pick the top 3. What are the 3 most important? After they pick that top 3, then you can say, out of those 3, what is the single most important thing that you need to do? Okay? So 9 times out of 10, when people are looking like for bookings or or whatever, almost always that call to action has to do with the number of reach outs they need to make. If making reach outs is not anywhere on their call to action list, then that must mean they have a perfectly full schedule and have all the recruits that they need. So if that's the case, fantastic, then they're allowed not to have that. If not, they should have something on there about contacts. and they can reach us. All right? So you're going to find out what they're going to do. The other thing is, then when they say what they're going to do, I would add a question here, that's another W question, which is when will you do it? So, especially if they struggle with habit or consistency. So the main way to get things done is to calendar it. Okay, so I say, open your calendar, let's take a look at it. Now, if this is somebody that doesn't struggle with that, you don't need to do this. But if they struggle with it, then you need to say, okay, let's talk about when you can do that. Now, people that don't handle accountability well, I say, so I'm going to be holding you accountable to this, because that's the agreement. If people are coaching with me, and it should be with you as well. And but if they say they don't want to be held accountable, then you're probably not going to be coaching. So I would say, okay, so I'm going to celebrate that when you reach that goal. Now, ideally, when you talk to them, people are inspired, right? When you talk to people, you will underestimate your impact on the success that they can have. So you want to make that impact happen within the next 48 hours. So almost always I will get 48-hour goals. And I'll say, okay, I don't give them, I give the time frame. They decide the goal. And I'll say, okay, what do you want to accomplish in the next 48 hours? And they might say, I want to book 6 shows. Okay? So remember how earlier we were talking about activity, not results? So what activity do you need to do to get 6 shows? Be specific, especially with newer consultants. And they might say, well, I want to book 6 shows, so I'm going to call 6 people. And then you say, okay, well, if you call 6 people, A, are you going to get a hold of all of them? Or are they going to respond back to you? No, probably not. How many would respond back to you? Probably 3. Okay, how many people do you think you need to actually talk to get a booking? If you ask 3, do you think they'll all say yes? Oh, I don't know, maybe 1 out of 3. Okay, so now, how many reach outs do you want to make? You've got to help them understand that, because especially when they're new, they just don't get it. Okay, so tell them about the numbers a little bit there. All right, so we're going to go through a little exercise. So what I'm going to have you guys do is I want you to think about something sincere that maybe you struggle with in your business. All right, the last time I did this, I assigned it to them and it didn't work because I said, let's say you guys talk about how to increase your show average. Well, they're all show average experts. So when they were coaching them, she's like, yep, I do that, I do that, I do that. Woo! So she was a pro. So this time, what we're going to have you do is think about what's something that you would like to improve on. Okay? And I want you to write down now, if you were to be the consultant, not the coach, but the consultant who is learning, what would be the one thing that you would ask about that you would like to improve? Okay, everybody write that down. I'll give you a minute to write it down. All right. Everybody have something down? Still thinking? How many of you have something down? Okay, good. We're getting it. So you'll think of something. Have the other person go first. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to stand up. That means off your models. I'm only doing one step at a time here. It's late in the day, I get it. All right, now I want you to look around the room and find somebody you've never met. I know you're so excited. The people that are introverts are dying right now. And I am watching you, and I know many of you. So I want you, don't go yet. You're going to find somebody you don't know, and you're going to simply do G-R-O-W. I almost said gold. G-R-O-W. Okay? But you're going to make it short and sweet. So you're going to say, my goal of this call is to learn to be a better recruiter. And then the coach is going to say, okay, so your goal is to be a better recruiter. They're going to repeat it back to you, right? And then they're going to say, what are you doing right now? Right now to recruit. They're going to say, yes. And then they're going to ask questions to help them think of something that they can do. And then they're going to say, what are some things you can do? And they're going to say, I can do A, I can do B, I can do C. And then they're going to say, what will you do? Now, normally this could be about a 15-minute conversation. Our goal is to make it 5 minutes or less, because whoever you walk up to and who coaches you, you're then going to coach them. Okay, are you all on board? I'm Johnson, many of these trainings. One of the things he does is he does a juggling exercise. And so he takes these balls, and he shows, luckily he can juggle, I would never be able to do that, because I can't juggle. But he shows people how to juggle. And then they have balls sitting on the table, and then they are asking the two people to teach the other person how to juggle. Not to teach, but to coach them how to juggle. So he gives them the basic skills of what it takes to juggle, and then he's telling the other person just coach them through, which means asking them questions. So here's what's interesting is even though he said that to everybody, most people said, oh no, you've got to do this and pick them up, or go this way. Well, if you would hold your hands this way, you do it, but you got to get low. I mean, like, they were trying to tell him how to do it, whether they knew how to juggle or not. Right? And so what happened is he had people raise their hand and they said, how many of you had a coach that told you what to do? And they raised their hand and they said, how did that work? And they brought their hand down, right? Like it was not successful. How many of you had a coach that asked you questions so you could figure out what you needed to do? And then no, it was much fewer, like maybe 10% of the people. And they said, how was that? And they said, it was a great experience. I didn't master it, but I figured out what I needed to do. So that's why this is important to ask the questions. Does that make sense? Okay, so you guys